So, welcome. This is Seer and Herself Guidance. My name's Elaine. In this work, we're connecting with our higher selves, only source aligned. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, that's just my alarm letting me know that we started. There'll be a description added in. Thank you for the hearts. I'm going to send you some hearts back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So lots happened in the last Thursday YouTube live, and it was interesting because I told somebody this, but it was interesting because I also film these on Zoom, and the Zoom recording was perfect. There was no interruptions. So on Thursday, there were so many interruptions, but when I looked at the recording on Zoom, there were no interruptions. So it's really interesting. So then it was all on YouTube side. So yeah, it was incredible what happened in that Thursday. So a lot has happened. A lot happens in a few days. And yeah, welcome, Sinija. Thank you for joining. Thanks for saying hi. I'll send you some hearts. Yeah, so on Thursday we had a power outage in Vancouver in quite a wide range of Vancouver, and it was I think the power came on at 7:30 p.m. So from 10 to 7:30 p.m. But a lot happened also with YouTube Live, and what I was saying on the YouTube Live was that one of the people that I've been working with, her name is Shadow. So she's said she's okay with me talking about her, talking about our sessions, talking about what happens in the sessions. So she's young. I started working with her when she was 27 years old, and she's 28 years old now. And she is so dedicated. And for her, she uses God instead of source. Look, so when she says God, it like really hits her in her heart. But she wasn't raised religious at all. So this isn't religious um, in any way. And I don't even think of it as spiritual because I think of it as energy work and clearing. And Sunija says, wow, long day. Yeah, it was a long day without power. So whatever was happening in Vancouver on Thursday, I don't know exactly, but I can kind of guess. But, but for me, the interference I feel is because there was a potential. And hi, Helen. Helen says, hi, Elaine. Hi, Sunija. Hi, Helen. And she sends a heart. I'll send some hearts back. So there was a potential of like awakenings that were happening. And I find that when there is the most interference, there is the potential for the most acceleration in consciousness, like an awakening consciousness. And so those things can happen at the same time. When you're awakening, all of a sudden your 3D life is just like complete garbage, like everything in 3D falls apart. And I kind of feel like that, in the atmosphere, there's these potentials or waves of consciousness and awakenings. And, the well, the word that's coming forward is portals, but there's this wave of like, say, like there's a portal of opening and awakening, but it can also be used to the negative, but it also can be used for the positive. So I see it, for me, it's like what I understand is that it can also create an acceleration. And so then I look for those opportunities for the acceleration, but I actually never know when I'm in kind of when I never know when there was an opening of acceleration until it happens. And then I'm like, oh, that's why 3D kind of was totally um like the chat on Thursday from YouTube. There was nothing, it was so PG, the chat, but it was disconnected by YouTube and I couldn't get back on. Um, but I was told that, they could see me and they could write in the chat, but I couldn't see the chat. So that I think Juanita wrote me a message saying that, they could see the chat, but I couldn't see the chat. So, but the interference is really real because what happened on that Wednesday, so there was two people that I was connected to that awakened, meaning that they have kicked out the conscious mind, they have kicked out the ego, which I see as an installation. And two people within 2 days did it, and one would be the divine masculine and then one would be the divine feminine. So the way I understand it is the divine feminine always steps forward first, and then the divine masculine is right there as well. So um yeah, just getting connected. So Cindy just says, Helen says, I've been feeling out of whack. Could you help me align, please? Thank you. Okay, so thanks, Helen. Cindy just says, hi, Helen, with a pink wavy hand. And Cindy just says, this weekend was weird energy. I felt attacked twice. Yeah, so it's almost like, okay, say we're detectives. And so much was thrown at the YouTube live on Thursday, yet the Zoom recording recorded perfectly. So how does that happen, right? It's coming out of one camera and it is getting recorded, but YouTube's recording, if you see it, at one point it was blacked out. I was frozen multiple times. There was so much interference. And when there's that much interference, and somebody that I know that's close to me ended up having to go to emergency, so it was chaotic for like 2 days, like Friday and Saturday were very chaotic in terms of what was happening around me. But then now I know that then when that happens, the more present I become. And so I see it as a test, like not a test, not a bad test, not like they're testing me to see if I'll fail, but a test of my consciousness, like a test of, okay, is the pain body still there? And is there anywhere in my field where the pain body is activating? So the pain body would be Eckhart Tolle's word, right? So unconsciousness ultimately is the pain body. So then I'm always testing to see how is my field under pressure. So Cindy just says that she was attacked twice. Yeah. So for me, I call that, the source protocol where you like go into still point. Actually, let's do it together. So connecting with our hearts, only source aligned, and then connecting to source consciousness through the heart, the I am presence. It's also the violet flame returned. It's 7D. Connecting to presence through the heart and then the inner body. And then just see how your body feels. And then we're going to connect to the crystalline grid of new earth, which I also call the sacred garden. We're connecting to truth and respect and love through the heart, only source aligned. We're asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing, right to the root cause, right to the very first incarnation. We're asking that this is updated in all timelines, realities, incarnations, spaces, and timelines. Connecting to only source and calling in only source's golden light to surround us, surround this YouTube live, and our homes and our spaces, our bodies, and inside our bodies. So calling in source's golden light, and we're asking for an extra code of shielding, only source aligned. And then we're asking for all the healings and clearings to be right to the root cause and to the very first incarnation. And we're asking for, if there is an opportunity for those who catch it, to eject the conscious mind and the critical voice, the ego. And we revoke the conscious mind, the critical voice, the ego in full. Only source and our original light remains, only source aligned. We affirm that our energy is our own, and then just clearing the shoulders, clearing the back, opening our field, opening. And we want to make it crystal clear that our intention, if we choose, is to eject the conscious mind, the critical voice, the ego. And all that remains is source and source consciousness. And we're just holding our field steady, pressing the eject button. It can be that easy, right? As long as our alignment and our intention is for the highest and greatest good. And then under the law of one, only source aligned. Connecting to our higher self, only source aligned. And then connecting to our guides, only source aligned. And then with the source protocol, we connect to our highest timeline, only source aligned. The violet flame returned. The I am presence. Holding our field, knowing that we have that extra code of shielding. And we affirm that our energy is our own, only source aligned. And that we give and receive in balance. and all that approaches us must match love, respect, and truth. Only source aligned. And we're asking that all clearings and healings from our higher selves, only source aligned, are updated in the records, only source aligned. And any attacks that we've experienced, we're asking for source's compensation. We're asking for source to step in. And we send these attacks to source and then back to sender. Clearing, 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 clearing. Clearing the nervous system, clearing the back, clearing the spine. Only source aligned. Connecting with our light body, which is also our diamond body. And we ask for, in this space, we're asking for clear, aligned expansion, only source aligned. Good. We affirm that our energy is our own with source. And then just releasing the shoulders and the back. Releasing, releasing, releasing all the tension. And then again, affirming the ejection of the ego, conscious mind, critical voice, and calling in an opportunity for those who catch it. Good. Breathe out everything that isn't source, and breathe in everything that is source. Releasing the neck and the shoulders, releasing all the tension and all the compression, and affirming unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is within me. And I release all looping, all distortions, all judgments. And what I transmit is clear in Source's name. I claim the atmosphere in Source's name. I claim the Wi-Fi in Source's name. I claim all towers in Source's name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6G towers. I claim all data centers in Source's name. And we're affirming out to everything not source aligned. There's all right, let's That's good. So let's close that little energy. Let's close that energy clearing and release. And just affirming our connection to source in this space together does a lot. All right, let's have some water. Let's see. Okay. Mm. Looking at the chat. So Vanessa says, boy, do you feel better? The heart. Oh, it looks like it was removed. I meant to say, boy, do I feel better. Yeah, I understood. Thanks, Vanessa. That's great. So yeah, so those, that's something that you can listen to again and again. And I do have different ones that I put up. I always do a guided journey inside. They're always different though, because it's whatever presents in the moment. So thanks for affirming that you feel better. So I'm assuming that was from the guided journey and the clearing. Thank you. And sending some hearts. Okay. Vanessa says, your voice is very healing. Oh, that's really nice. Actually, I had a session with somebody recently and I was like, God, he has like the perfect radio voice. Like he is such a nice, and he doesn't, because it's just his voice, but it's, so I thank you for saying that because I think for ourselves, like I definitely don't think I have I have that voice. So thank you. Helen says, thank you, Elaine. Yeah, so when we do these guided journeys together, actually, when I first started wanting to do these YouTube lives, I was thinking of just doing these guided journeys. And then it turned into Seer and Higher Self, like asking Seer and Higher Self questions. And then putting the decree out, the Seer and Higher Self guidance, the lives really help because you can ask questions of, about what your experience is and what the process is. So yeah, I'll send more hearts. Thank you so much. And thanks for commenting in the chat. I know Helen has a question, so we can go into Helen's question. So Helen, 1982, she, her. Helen has been feeling out of whack and she would like help with alignment. Thank you. I kind of edited how she worded it, but I've been feeling out of whack. Could you help me align me? Question mark. Thank you. It's really interesting. So there's been like a deconstruction process with the building that I live in. So I live in a townhouse so it's like 3 stories up. It's like kind of, how townhouses are stacked up like cubes. And they've been doing construction for the last 3 years. And then we saw like on YouTube Live, like the last bit of like scaffolding and construction and the balcony. And then the construction worker gave me a yay when it was done. And then as soon as it was done, then they chopped down all the trees. And I found out that who was behind that is Moloch. And Moloch has access to up to 6D, I found out, but Moloch has been eclipsed. And like from my field, he's been eclipsed, and he's also been eclipsed from a client. Her name is Shadow. He's been eclipsed from her field. So before she fully ejected the ego and the conscious mind, Moloch was around her for a couple weeks, and he was around me for a couple weeks. And Moloch is he isn't one that we can do like a decree on to like eject him. Um, Moloch is Moloch is how he works is he works in the ether, and he works with like kind of like sexual desire and um like perversions and like child sacrifice, and like that's Moloch. He does like Hollywood, the Olympics. He's kind of in charge. Each of these, they're in charge of certain sections that I have found. Like Yaldabaoth is in charge of like the highest of like 3D. And then the Anunnaki are in charge of like 4D. And and then Moloch has access up to 60. And then the insectoids, some of the fallen insectoids have access up to 70, right? So, but really, most of the interference as you're awakening out of 3D is the Anunnaki. And that's what the decrees really help. They really help clear the muck of like 4D. And I kind of went through that after I awakened. Then I had like 2 years of like attacks and stuff happening that I didn't understand. Now I understand it. So then now I can talk about it. And then that's how the decree came about, was actually if I did that, I feel like I would have had a smoother journey in the in embodied awakening. I awakened, but then there's embodied awakening. So embodied consciousness. So in the body. So it's like I'm fully grounded in 5D in the body, and then fully grounded 6D in the body, and then fully grounded 7D in the body. And then now I've been activating 8D embodied and 9D embodied. So sometimes you can be doing a little bit in 9D. Like I learned like my one eye was 9D activated, but then the rest of me wasn't. So it was like as you're activating, there can be different parts, because there's different levels of interference, just like there's kind of like the ones that are in charge. Like I learned that Anu is in charge of the Anunnaki and kind of uses the Anunnaki of 4D. So he's like the top person of the 4D Anunnaki, and it's Anu, ANU. So I've learned kind of like the players of kind of the interference. And so Moloch was interfering, and really intensely. And I thought, what's going on, is my question, right? And then he was really intensely interfering with the client for Shadow for those 2 weeks as well. But we both learned and with the sessions and with mirroring, that is who was behind kind of the attacks. And so, one was like, it was so ridiculous. I had a dream, and it was like this guy gave me a drive home, so then I would owe him sex. That's Moloch. Like he turns everything into a sexual perversion. It's like if somebody gives you a ride, you can say thank you. You know, you can offer to pay for some gas. I don't know, but you don't owe sex. And that is exactly Moloch. Moloch, if you kind of like are entrapped with him, and he works also with the mind, right? So it's not like an installation or interference, but it's like he works with the mind, and then he brings in these thoughts. But this client Shadow, she was working at ejecting the conscious mind and awakening, so embodied awakening. And so then he came through both of us. And so I was like, whoa, I haven't had dreams like that, you know, in a while. but that's he couldn't kind of come through in my day-to-day space, but he came through the night field because there's less um because you're the most vulnerable, right? So you're because you're sleeping and you're in the delta state. Anyways, he lost. She awakened and she ejected the conscious mind. And then 2 days later, a young man ejected his the conscious mind as well. And then that pairing to me felt very amazing because it was a divine feminine, divine masculine, and then the divine feminine a little ahead, which was just 2 days ahead. So it's pretty incredible. So it is available for everybody. It is available for everybody. And that is, it's like the opportunity is there and you just have to catch it and you just have to say, yes, that's what I want. I want to eject it. And then as you're tested, you stay with what you want. You don't change your mind. You just say, nope, this is it. This is it. And so I checked in with her. Actually, I had a session with her yesterday, and it's holding. Like and actually she had a huge sweep of good luck came into her life, actually, of opportunities. And like shocking, like like really really surprising, really good things, really surprising. And so you're when you're in the muck of it, you think, oh, this is going to go on forever, and that's what the mind wants you to think, and then everything's going to be horrible. But if you can stabilize your frequency, it's so powerful. All right. Okay, so sorry, I was going to do Helen, and then I have so much to say because it's quite exciting to witness two ego ejections, two conscious mind ejections. When my when it was ejected from me, it was it what it was I felt like my eye, like I had been working on clearing and clearing and clearing, and then also embodying 5D and then stabilizing. So any attacks, I would just do the source protocol, which is what we did today. I did the guided journey. um it's kind of was an expanded version of the source protocol. And then what I saw was like this, my eye got really itchy and I looked and it was like this little tech spider ejected out of my eye. And I was like, my eye kind of hurt. It was kind of scratchy and it was out of my right eye. And I was like, that's the conscious mind. And then I was like, I was even surprised, but that would have been from my higher self, how I see it, that information, because to me, I was like, what's happening? And then it's almost like I saw it like run along the ground, but it was like a little tech spider. It wasn't like a real spider, but it was black. And then it was gone, and then it was gone, and then I wasn't sure that it was gone like forever, or is it like a layer of clearing, or is it really gone, like the conscious mind ego gone. And it was gone, the conscious mind ego, the critical voice. I don't have a critical voice. I don't have, like before, I used my mind would go like, oh, you should have done that, or you could have done that, or oh, you're so slow, and how come you haven't done that yet, and how come you haven't completed. And like I had those thoughts all the time in my head, like constantly putting me to shame and guilt, like the lowest of 1D. I had those thoughts all the time. And then now I have them not at all. And that is the ejection of the conscious mind, the ego. And for me, I see it as an installation. I see it as something that you can be at 0 point neutral. Like 0 point neutral is you've surrendered. You're not controlling. You're not directing. You're not the boss. You're not because if you're the boss, then you're also like the worst person in the world, the lowest of like shame. You're going to fluctuate between the two. So it's like source is the boss as I see it, God, source, divine presence, and then I surrender. and then staying at that 0 point neutral. Yeah. All right. I hope that helps. But anyways, if you want to eject your ego, you know, just the opportunity's there and just catch it. Just say, yes, that's what I want. And then just focus and don't change your mind. So if your 3D life starts falling apart, you know, it's actually a sign that you're doing a lot if you're holding your frequency, like you're holding your intention, you're holding your frequency, and you're aligning with source. And then you're just, for me, it was source or nothing. Like I only cared about consciousness and awakening, like, but yet I'm, like my 3D life, I take care of my 3D life, but it's like you're tested, and the tests aren't from source. The tests are from 3D to see if they can get you to go back to low 1D, shame, guilt, fear. And so just remember the tests are not coming from source. They're coming from low 3D. And then low 3D is what you're ejecting or eclipsing or releasing to source. And you're doing it with your full heart. You're doing it with your full energy. You're doing it in 0 point consciousness, the I am presence through the heart. So, all the work that I do is all only through the heart. So the third eye can get activated, the crown can get activated, but that's not the primary connection. The primary connection is through the heart. And it is the hardest to be interfered with. So they love it if you do everything through the third eye and through the crown. Lots of spiritual teachers actually say to open up your crown fully, put your hands up, open your third eye fully, and then you can just imagine, like, what I see is these like gray suction tubes come like a vacuum to the top of your head into your third eye, and then they suck out your energy. And it actually takes a long time to get your energy back, once it's sucked out. And then you can only really do it like by yourself and then with source, like, or, listening to a guided journey or meditation. But it's like basically it's a solo journey to get your energy back. Okay, so we got a few questions here. Okay, let's see. So, okay, so Helen has a question. So we'll do Helen first. And then it looks like Sinija has a question. Okay, so Sinija has a question. And then Sinija said, my left eye is twitching for a few days now. For me, it means something negative will happen. Well, not necessarily. It could mean something negative is being ejected. Like for me, it was like something very negative. The conscious mind was being ejected. So it's more just be curious and then anchor more with your higher self and then only source aligned and then and source and then just keep connecting, you know, to source basically. And then, but it will be revealed to you what is going on. If you want to know, you just keep asking your higher self. And then Vanessa asks a question as well. So Vanessa, just try to think of your question more in, because I can't really, because Vanessa's asking about her dad, but I can't really do anything like for your dad, but I can do things like, can you think of wording the question so it's more about you? Like maybe you need more energy to be caring for your dad, or I'm not quite sure, but I can't actually go into your dad's field without his consent. And then actually for me, it gets, I mean, I guess I can, but it gets very, I'm crossing consent. It's like, it's a no. So I just think of it more of like how it's affecting you or what you need, um, like what you're looking for, Vanessa. I guess I need more clarity with your question. And then Sunija said, I had a spider in my bedroom above my bed for 2 days ago, big and black. But I'm having moss flying in when I command dark triad out of my space and time. Yeah, um, they're kind of gross, right? Like, I don't know, for light workers, like moths and spiders are like so gross. What I've learned about spiders is why so many people would come in with sessions saying they wanted to help with their phobia with spiders. Like, I would say pretty much every light worker, like every sensitive empath, um, black sheep, if any of those words align, they all have this fear of spiders. And when I asked about spiders in particular, it was because they are made and they're not kind of, well, it's not that it's, I guess you could think of it as like they don't have a source emanation. And so they're kind of made, they were made, and so there's like a creepiness to them. Like there's things that were made kind of from source, like source emanated. And then there's kind of like the 3, 4D trickery where they're trying to play God, and then they make clones, they make, NPCs, they interbreed animals and people, they were doing all of that weird genetics, weird genetic mixing, kind of playing God. And then that was Atlantis got shut down, and then other timelines also got shut down. So it's like there's always a lot of patience in terms of like awakening to consciousness and making mistakes. But if you go too far, then it gets shut down, basically. So I feel like spiders came in under that, not created by source, but created by like, the creators that think they're God, like the 3D gods, like they think they're God. Anunnaki think they're God in 4D. They play God, they think they're God. So in that way, some of the things that they create kind of will get shut down. So yeah. Okay, so Vanessa, thank you for the clarity. Um, yeah, so with Sunija, I would say yes, just keep claiming your space in source's name, and then just say all else out. I do not consent to moss in my room. I do not consent to spiders in my room. And then you can do that protocol of naming it, saying like, I do not consent. I do not consent for spiders to be in my room. I do not consent for moths to be in my room. My room is sealed in source's name. Cindy just says she doesn't kill them, but release them. Yeah, great. So she got 100% and hearts. Thank you. I'll send some hearts back. And then Vanessa said, I would love to know what my higher self sees for me as well in healing my spinal cord injury. I'm not sure if I need endoscopic surgery. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so I can do more um, like for you, Vanessa. That would be great because when I ask for other people, it's like it gets very dodgy. But we can send an intention for healing, like we could send an intention for healing for your dad, or however you want to work, however you want to word it, or energy clearing, or we can send an intention, but I can't like tap into his field, basically. I need his consent. Yeah. But that's good. So so I think we'll do that question, Vanessa. We'll do the one that's for you. And then Jordan just sent a purple heart. Hi, Jordan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Vanessa says, I understand, and triple red hearts. Yeah, totally. Okay, great. And sometimes I'm not like that clear. So it's good for me to clarify that because I know like I have friends too that are constantly asking about all their loved ones, but I'm like, what about you? You're like, have no energy. You're like helping everybody. You're totally depleted. You're totally fried. And but they're not asking for themselves. Like the most powerful thing you can do in your lineage is actually your own healing and your own awakening. But in 3D, we're always told that is selfish, but actually in terms of source alignment, our awakening, like if we stabilize our field in 5D consciousness, so heart-based consciousness embodied, we can help 750,000 people below 3D, so 2 and 1D, just by maintaining our frequency, just by removing the interference inside of ourselves and clearing our own energy field. Like we actually do a lot. I'm just holding tourmaline just because it was calling me. Okay. All right. I got to get to it. Hey, we're at 11. Okay. So we're getting there. Vanessa says, okay, I understand. Okay, great. So let's go to Helen. Let's see. Helen has been feeling out of whack. And then could you help me align? Thank you. Okay. So Helen is 1982. She, her, and I know because she's asked questions before. And I wrote down, I will never remember your years of birth, but I'm not good with numbers. Anyways, but I'm good at going into the field and going into presence. Okay. Let's connect with Helen's higher self, 1982, only source aligned. We're asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing for Helen, right to the root cause, right to the very first incarnation. So just they're opening your shoulders right away. They're opening your back and your shoulders. And they're just saying that to affirm that everything that approaches you, Helen, matches love, respect, and truth. And they're just releasing the right side of the body. The right side, they're just releasing the right side. Okay, good. And then open, open, open. Releasing, releasing, releasing. And we're asking only sources golden light. And then this is all with Helen's higher self. And then for Helen right now, the Divine Mother has stepped forward, only source aligned. Sometimes we need the energy of the Divine Mother, only source aligned. And then just releasing the shoulders and the neck, only source aligned. And we're asking that the clearing for Helen is in all timelines, all dimensions, all realities, all spaces, and all timelines. So we're asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing right to the root cause, right to the very first incarnation. Good. Okay, so we want to clear any contracts and any repetition cycles for Helen right now. Only source aligned. And then we're releasing them in all timelines, dimensions, realities, spaces, incarnations, timelines. Good. All right, so clearing the tension of the shoulders and the neck. And clearing, clearing, clearing. Clearing, clearing the shoulders and the shoulder blades. And then just ejecting what is not for Helen's highest and greatest good. It feels like there's like this a weighted compression coming from the left, from the right side. So the divine feminine side. And then just affirming my energy is my own. I give and receive with balance. And we're asking for clear, aligned expansion for Helen. Okay, clearing, clearing, clearing. I'm just releasing the divine feminine side, the right side of the body. It's like feels very tired. And then just the tension in the neck and the shoulders. And then just bringing in unconditional love from Source, and Source's golden light, and then the Divine Mother. And then, yeah. And just affirming all that approaches must match love, respect, and truth. And then connecting with your light body, which is also your diamond body, your 5D body. And clearing the nervous system. Clearing the neck and the shoulders. And then the low back. Clearing the low back. And then just anchoring in peace. So connecting to source consciousness, and then anchor in peace through the heart. And then just bringing it in from source consciousness and anchoring in peace. And just you can visualize, like being under a tree and just resting up against the tree. And then just feel that support of the tree and the support of the earth. And then the alignment with the tree. And then just feel the peace. And then just releasing the right side of the body that's like stuck energy, or just releasing. Yeah. Releasing tiredness. And then releasing the neck a bit more. Yeah, good. And releasing the neck and the shoulders. And then anchoring again in peace, with peace. And then just imagining laying up against a tree. And then just feeling the strength of the tree, the support of the tree, and then the ground below you, the support of the earth below you. Good. Good. All right. Okay, good, Helen. Let's check the chat, see if how that felt. Um, Okay, so let's close for Helen. So anchoring in the peace and just the visual of like laying up against a tree on the ground, and then just kind of laying your body relaxed up against a tree, and then anchoring in the peace and source's golden light. And then we bring in source's golden light for Helen, and then sealing the space for Helen and source's golden light. And then so all around and inside. And ending and closing for Helen, 1982, she, her. Thank you, Helen. All right, good. And then just anchoring in peace. And then connecting with clear, aligned expansion, only source aligned. All right. Thank you, Helen. Helen says, thanks, that feels better. Okay, beautiful. Thanks, Helen. I'm going to send you some hearts. All right, thanks for letting me know. And we use the tourmaline crystal to help anchor the divine masculine. So the divine masculine was holding the field with black tourmaline. So that's nice. So the divine masculine is the left side of the body. Okay. All right, so doing some clearing. All right, let's have some water. Okay, so let's do Sanija's question. Sanija. Oh yeah, I was just looking at the comments, Sanija. I think for your left eye twitching for a few days, it means something negative will happen. Yeah, I would check in that. I would say to, I don't know, I always feel like even if something negative happens, I still feel like it's happening for me. Like even I've had really negative experiences, but I have awakened out of them, and it's not spiritual bypassing. It really got me crystal clear of what I do not want in my life, and then how to anchor in consciousness. You know, I kind of learned the hard way, but okay, that's just something to wonder about. So Sinija, her, she, her, 1973. Can my higher self clear the fear of standing up to the authority and being rejected for offering my help, which made me think, which made me thinking I am not lovable. Okay, so can my higher self clear the fear of standing up to authority and being rejected for offering my help, which made me thinking I'm unlovable. Okay, so it has two parts. So oof, right away they're like, oof, it's a heavy load, Sunija. Oof, oof, oof. Okay. Can my higher self clear fear of standing up to authority? Okay. Sinija, she, her, 1973. So we're connecting with Sinija's higher self, only source aligned. Connecting with my higher self, only source aligned. Okay, and then just opening, 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 opening. So we're asking for the root cause of fear for Sinija, right to the root cause, to the very first incarnation. What is the origination of the fear besides the 3D, besides the 2D, besides the 1D? What is the origination for fear for Sinija? Yeah, we want the most efficient path forward to see it clearly. So what they're saying right away is what you will feel before the fear kind of hits the mind is you're going to feel kind of a nauseous feeling in your stomach. So you're going to actually feel something's not right in my body before the fear actually has a chance to anchor. So it's almost like starting to see it before, and before it turns into the full-blown mind inter interference. They're just releasing for you now. They're just releasing the fear right now. Just releasing, releasing. So they're releasing in the stomach from the gut. And actually for Sinija is the opposite. It's like it's happening on the divine masculine side. So it's actually the divine feminine side, the right side, that is needing the protection in the tourmaline crystal. So the divine feminine kind of needs the protection, but it's actually happening on the divine masculine side. So the left side of the body. So standing up to authority and fear is connected to the left side of the body, which is the divine masculine. And it what they're saying is that it feels like a balanced divine masculine holds the field. Say somebody, the example they're showing, say somebody comes up and the divine masculine is there and somebody comes up and is screaming and yelling. The divine masculine in a balanced way, it holds his field and anchors his field, but doesn't catch the the madness in front of them. Like there's another guy that comes up, or a woman or whatever, and they're like screaming and yelling. The divine masculine anchor is actually would hold the field, and just simply be like, no, like 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 not getting in the soup, like would not get involved. He would just be like, no, and then hold the field steady. So that would be like the most efficient way to handle interference of any kind, is anchoring and stabilizing in the divine masculine, the left side of the body, and it just saying no. It's basically like it's on a loop. It's a repetition cycle, this dynamic. So like the fear of authority, it's like a loop. It's like a repetition cycle. It happens over and over again, but how to stay connected and anchored is staying connected with the left side of the body, the divine masculine, and the answer is no. Like the divine masculine, it doesn't care if they're rejected. Like the divine masculine doesn't care if you're yelling and screaming and losing your marbles. Like he's not an idiot. He's not going to be like, he's not going to join the idiots. He's just going to be like, no, this is not for me. And then hold steady. Like just revoke the madness, basically. Like the divine masculine, when he's balanced, when that part of us is balanced, the answer is no, right? Unless it comes in with respect and truth, the answer is no, right? So they're just working on the low part of your spine and your left thigh, left thigh, and the low part of your spine. So, and they're seeing, it does make you want to like, go under the table and like hide under the table, but they're saying like that this is a repetition cycle, and that you can now you can anchor in that the side of you that is the divine masculine, and the divine masculine is crystal clear. Like, you don't come into my field. If you come into my field without respect, the answer is no. If you come into my field trying to interfere with me, the answer is no. And then you don't have to explain, like, he's not like going on why he's saying no. It's just no. Like, I'm not interested. And then a stronger one is like, back off. But they're not changing their mind based on whatever's happening on the outside. They're just saying no. They're not explaining, they're not people pleasing. He's not like begging for friends, you know. He's not like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you're rude to me and here let me work this out with you." He's like, "No. If you're not coming to me with respect and truth, the answer is no." And he's not like negotiating. That is the balanced divine masculine. The balanced divine masculine does not negotiate. You know, it's the answer is no. If there's no respect, the answer is no. And so, I mean, he's crystal clear. And that activation of the divine masculine is in all of us. It's not about gender. It is in, we all have a divine masculine and a divine feminine pairing inside of us. And, you know, sometimes rejection is like divine intervention, you know, like I never, okay, they're just saying an example, right? Like, it's like, I can say this. They said, okay, this is an example that the most dysfunctional people that were in my life, I people pleased the most. And because of the dysfunction. But the people that show respect and show love, there's no people pleasing, like zero people pleasing. Right. So you have to think when that people pleasing comes up, right? Wanting to help or wanting to step in, and that it's people pleasing. And if there's no balance, you know, narcissists love love bombing and then rejecting, and then love bombing and then rejecting, and then love bombing and then rejecting, and then they create this trauma bond. But balanced people, they don't need you. They don't need you to, um, like, they just need you to be yourself, you know, stay in your own field, and then, you know, ask for what you need. And then if it doesn't work, you know, they step back or you step back. You know, there's a flow, there's a balance of respect and love. But when there's dysfunction, then there's this push and pull of like, yes, you're in, no, you're out. Yes, you're in, no, you're out. You know, so you have to see like what's the context of the rejection. And then, you know, because if you're with the narcissist, part of the dark triad, you're going to go through cycles of like, you're going to go through cycles of that throughout the day, you know, of rejection and confusion. So, I mean, that's all they do, right? Because they need your energy. So, and they need you hooked, like trauma bond, like they need you to be hooked so that you freely give your energy all the time until you're depleted. And then that's basically how they operate. That's the dynamic in a nutshell. They're saying like that is the dynamic, but underneath all of it is, if you're scrambling, then you're releasing your energy. You know, you're um they're just releasing some for the divine feminine side, the right side, and then the nervous system. So they're kind of saying, you know, like, just notice just notice more like the bigger picture of the dynamic instead of automatically like going into feeling like it's your fault or that you did something wrong or there's something, like you're being rejected. Like sometimes it's like divine intervention. Rejection is divine intervention. We won't know it sometimes till a little bit later, but I've had things fall apart that at the time I was devastated. I wanted them so badly to work out, but it was completely divine intervention. So, because things can um work kind of more efficiently if your alignment and intention is clear. Like if the divine masculine is really clear, like no, nothing approaches that doesn't have respect and truth. So they're just saying anchor and they're just move the black tourmaline to the left side. So then you can just hold firm on that. And then just practice like holding, just holding firm, like holding your energy firm. Yeah. Yeah. And just really know that everything, needs to be like receiving and giving in balance. So that's the kind of the most efficient kind of straight path is the balance of giving and receiving. But that there is like it's like a good tennis game, back and forth. Like one person hits the ball, the other person does, and a good tennis game is like, it's like a balance, it, yeah. All right, let's just check the chat before closing out Sinija. Whoops. Let's see. Sinija says, thanks, makes sense. Okay, great. Okay, sending lots of love. So let's close for Sinija. So we're going to close, bringing in sources, golden light, only source aligned. And then we're asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing for Sinija, right to the root cause, right to the very first incarnation, only source aligned. So only source aligned, meaning only with consent of her higher self. And that connecting with her original light only source aligned. So her original consciousness, only source aligned. Good. And then releasing, releasing, releasing. Just doing a final kind of like clearing for Sinija. They're like, we can finally clear. So Sinija said message received. So they're just like now, just kind of like fleshing everything out. Good. And then closing and ending for Sinija, only source aligned. And then Sinija 1973. So closing for Sinija, only source aligned, 1973. Good. All right. Thanks, Sinija. Sinija says, thank you so much. Great. Okay, awesome. Melissa's here. Hi, everyone. Hi, Melissa. Okay, so let's see. There was, I think, another question. I think Vanessa had a question. Okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, hearts. Okay, I see those hearts. Thank you. And I send hearts back. Vanessa. Okay, so Vanessa, let me see all your do you have any insights on how I can best help my dad? Okay. And then Vanessa says, I just need some guidance because he's coming to me for help and I'm at my lowest because of my spinal cord injury. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're depleted and then Phew, okay. And then for Vanessa, I would love to know what my higher self sees for me as well in healing my spinal cord injury. I'm not sure if I'm in need of endoscopic surgery. Okay, let's look into that for Vanessa. Um, Cindy just said, looks like here, so Vanessa understood. I kind of explained about consent, like I don't have the father's consent, so I could look at it from Vanessa's point of view. And then oh, Sunija says try raindrop technique. Okay, she said that for Vanessa in the chat. I actually don't know what that is. And then Sunija says, I apologize, Vanessa, for butting in. You didn't ask for my help. And then Vanessa says, I appreciate you, Sinija, red heart. Okay, great. And then Sinija says, thank you, Vanessa. Okay, great. So we're like, this is very 5D, right? We're helping each other. And helping each other in the chat. So that's really nice. And everybody is respectful, right? Like Sinija offered a suggestion and then she was like, oh, did I overstep? But Vanessa said, no, received. So great. Thank you. And that's good for all of us checking in with each other. So let's check in. I think the most important thing, Vanessa, right now, we'll check in about your dad too, but we'll see it from your point of view as a helper. But is your spinal cord injury? Yeah. So Vanessa, let's see. So Vanessa, I have you at 1968. She, her. Okay. Okay, so, all right, right away they're clearing. So Vanessa, 1968. So we're just clearing, they're clearing the right side of the head, the back of the head, the right side of the head, the back of the head, and then the nose. They're clearing the nose and the right side of the head. Okay. They're saying they're going to do this kind of energy clearing. This is with Vanessa's higher self, only source aligned. They're said they're going to do it delicately, but they're gonna bring in the healing team for the right side of the back of the head, and then just releasing the neck and the shoulders, and it feels very tight, feels very painful, and just releasing, 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 and releasing, releasing, releasing the neck and the shoulders. Okay. And releasing the neck. For the dad, what they're saying is right now we're going to send your dad to his higher self, only source aligned. So right now we're going to send your dad to his higher self. And the most powerful thing, before even helping in, before even stepping in, they're saying is actually to send the person to their higher self, only source aligned, because their higher self is also trying to get through to them. And then us sending the message of like, I send you to your higher self, only source aligned. It actually helps a lot because the higher self is actually trying to get through to them and is trying to get through to them as well. So the first thing as a helper is actually, before helping, actually send the person to their higher self, only source aligned. So they're going to keep the black tourmaline for Vanessa in the right hand. And then they're just going to try to adjust gently the shoulders and the upper back and the neck. And they're going to do this. They said they're going to do this very gently and very slowly. And then just hold on to the vision of, they're saying, hold on to the vision of like a healthy, strong body. Like I have a healthy, strong body. And they said, just you hold the vision and then they will do the clearing. So, and then they'll just adjust. And they want to acknowledge that it is very painful. And so they're going to do the adjustments very gently and carefully, they're saying. So, and I'm not the Elaine, I'm not hurt. They're just using my body, like kind of titrating, because they can bring in a lot of energy healing, but then they don't know, the volume. And so if they have somebody to titrate with, like kind of in tandem, like we're working in tandem. So it would be like me and Vanessa. So my higher self only source aligned and Vanessa's higher self only source aligned. And then they're working in tandem together and then coming kind of through this body first and then to Vanessa's body. So as not to overwhelm Vanessa. Okay, so just holding. So for Vanessa, the only thing, if you can, is just you're holding the vision of health and well-being. And or healing, whatever words resonate, they said, it doesn't matter. The exact words can change. And then just releasing the upper shoulders and releasing. So a lot of it is mostly on the right, feels like it's on the right side of the body. So, and now they're getting to the low part of the spine. And then they're just releasing the low back. And then you don't have to be religious, but it's not religious, but Yeshua was kind of hijacked in the crucifixion timeline, but he is a master healer and he's only source aligned. And so he has stepped forward. So because your higher self is here, only source aligned, then Yeshua has stepped forward to help as a master healer, and he's bringing in the healing team, only source aligned. So he does this with the consent of your higher self. So just working again on the back of the head, on the right side. And then they're saying that it also like this, it hurts at the back right side of the head, but it also affects your vision, like your eyes hurt. And they're saying it's a concussion. So they're saying that it affects your eyes and it hurts your eyes. So they're just clearing that. And then just deep breath in and deep breath out. And then you can just say yes. Yes to the clearing. Yes to the healing, only source aligned. And just releasing the neck and the shoulders. And then releasing especially the right shoulder. And then holding the vision for alignment, health. And then just clearing the left side of the body. And they're doing it very gently, like very gently. Yeah. Oof, good. Clearing tiredness, overwhelm. and just claiming, my energy is my own, and knowing that your dad's higher self is on the job. Your dad's higher self, only source aligned, is on the job to help your dad. So even before, when your dad asks for anything, always send him to his higher self first. They're saying that's very important for everybody as a helper, to send them to their higher self first, only source aligned, before stepping into taking any action or non-action. Okay, just clearing. So, okay, so what Yeshua is saying is that Yeshua only source aligned. So he's a master healer with healing teams. He loves doing healings. Is before going to bed, you can call on him and just say, Yeshua only source aligned. I'm asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing right to the root cause, to the very first incarnation. So you can set that intention before you sleep, and then just ask for that while you sleep. And just affirming that your energy is your own. Okay, and have some water. They're working on the low part of the spine right now, so I'm just going to move. It's because they need they need me to move, so I'm just going to move. And then they're just adjusting the low part of the back on the right side, and then the right side hip, and then the left side hip. Okay. Yeah, so we're asking for a deep release and clearing. So they're just bringing in some heat to help, some fire, and then just ground, connect to the earth, only source aligned, connect to new earth. Good. All right, let's check and see how Vanessa's feeling. Okay. All right. It's like, yeah, and just let Yeshua do it. Just let Yeshua do the work. He's the master healer and he has the healing teams and he can work very quickly. And he has come in for so many sessions. It's been amazing. So he's the one that told me that in shadow session, the client. He's the one that said, with the critical voice, the conscious mind, like the opportunity is there, you know, the opportunity is there for those who catch it. And a white butterfly just came by the window. Okay. Vanessa says, I think you're amazing. Well, thanks, Vanessa. I think you're amazing. I think this is a really good question. I believe in you and you have made me feel so much better. Thank you. I got chills and then warmth in my heart with a heart emoji. I feel so much better. Thank you. Smiley face and a smiley kissy face. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you for affirming. And then just if you feel like it and just ask for Yeshua only source aligned to come in, and the healing teams to come in only source aligned. It's very important to say only source aligned. And then you can call on your higher self, only source aligned, and then ask for healings while you sleep, because they need your body relaxed. And the best way is if you're like laying down. So, and then just keep the vision. They're saying keep the vision of like, I have a healthy body. Like I am healthy, I'm strong, whatever word resonates. Even I am healed. You can, if you believe it, if you, if that, but pick the words that that can anchor that vision. Good. Thanks, Vanessa. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's close for Vanessa. We're going to ask for the intention is the deepest healing and the deepest clearing, right to the root cause, to the very first incarnation, only source aligned. And connecting with Yeshua, only source aligned, and the healing teams, only source aligned. We're asking for the deepest healing and the deepest clearing, right to the root cause, to the very first incarnation for Vanessa, only source aligned. So Vanessa is 1968. And then clearing, clearing, clearing. And then we're asking to bring in sources golden light to surround Vanessa, her home, her dad. And then releasing all to source and bringing in sources golden light. And then closing this energy clearing and energy work in source's name. Good. Yeah, and they're saying just to connect with your true connection, like your true connection to source and your higher self, only source aligned. Good. Yeshua can work really fast. Yeshua, I've seen Yeshua and the healing teams, they work very fast. He'll always look at the fastest path forward. And then for us, it's more just that he needs to know that, of course, consent, because there's free will. And then also that we're in a safe place, that like that's why in this work we're kind of titrating, we're working together, so he knows, like say I receive it, and then I'm like, okay, my body says yes, and then kind of like extends it like I don't know, the word that he's saying is like titrating, and then it's like a helper, kind of help. Because sometimes, it's like if they come in and they beam all the love, and we're not used to it, and we're like, whoa, like we think if, the whole bunch of love, if we feel like if a whole bunch of love was beamed at us, then we think we'll be like, oh, wow, I love that. But usually it activates the pain body, and then maybe perhaps shame and fear and guilt. And then you shut down and, oh, I don't deserve it, or, oh, I can't accept it. Right. So then they like kind of like us, they call it, like helpers, where, we're here to kind of like hold the field. Right. So as a seer, that's kind of the jobs, the answers don't come from me, the information doesn't come from me, it comes from source, and then all source aligned, and then basically, to the person. So it's like a compass, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So we're end here for Vanessa. Good. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. And then just checking the chat for Vanessa. Vanessa says, I'm just going to send some hearts. Vanessa says, Yeshua has come to me in my dreams in the past, red heart. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, great. So then, yeah, so when he stepped forward, I never know how it's going to be received. So that's great. He's already come to you in your dreams in the past. So that's excellent. So that makes sense that he has come forward. He came forward in this session because he's already come forward. Vanessa says, I have been in such excruciating, horrible pain. It's completely gone now. It's a miracle, and I've been praying. Wow, that's amazing, Vanessa. Thank you. Thank you for asking a question, and then thank you for sharing that on the YouTube Live, because this will help a lot of people, because a lot of people are in excruciating, horrible pain. And I saw, and I saw that that clear vision is there for you. So yeah, thank you so much. All right. I think we're good. I think we almost did 2 hours. So 2 hours is kind of my maximum, my maximum of the YouTube Live. So they're 1 hour for sure. And then anything beyond that depending on how busy the chat is and people having questions. So I think let's close here. Yeah, let's close here. Okay. And thanks everybody for joining. So we'll close this session, this YouTube Live. We're going to bring in Source's Golden Light, only Source aligned. And then we're going to close it in Source's name. And thank you for being here. And we can see that the intervention, like the interference that was happening on Thursday, the person, the young man, he also kicked out his critical voice. So on the 21st of August. So I had one client shadow on the 19th, and she said I can use her name and I can even talk about her. So that was great. I asked her on Monday, like, would it be helpful, or can I use your name, or do you want, like, how, I have to ask consent. And she said, yeah, you can tell them what our sessions are like. You can say what happened, but she kicked out the conscious mind on the 19th of August, 2026. It has not come back. It is ejected. And she had a huge, like an enormous positive experience happen to her right after. And then a young man also, his conscious mind ejected on Friday, the 21st of August. So I was witness to 2 people, which is incredible. So if it's there for 1 or 2, it's there for all. As Yeshua says, there's an opportunity there for everyone, and for those who catch it. So we just have to catch it, but we're here talking about it. And this YouTube Live was stable with no interference. So that really shows how the field has gotten stabilized. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next YouTube Live. I'll be here on Thursday at 11:11 Pacific time. All right, much love and much thanks. We'll end here. Good. I'm always like, how do we end? We just have to end. All right, we'll see you on Thursday. All right, take care.